The hidden truth inside every MacBook, the macOS Secret 647 AM Cupertino, California. In a nondescript beige building on One Apple Parkway, the one the tourists never photograph, a team of 23 engineers is running the final verification pass on a chip codenamed T8152. They call it M6. The world doesn't know it exists yet, and there is a third person in that room, someone who isn't on Apple's payroll, and we'll get to exactly who that is. But first, understand what is sitting on the desk in front of you right now. Signal number 1. Your MacBook is not what Apple told you it is. Every unit shipping in April 2026, every single one of those aluminum slabs carrying Apple's M5 Pro and M5 Max chips contains a component Apple barely acknowledged in its March 4th announcement. It's called the N1 chip. Apple called it a wireless networking chip. That's technically true, but here's what nobody is telling you. The N1 is Apple's first fully custom-designed baseband and wireless controller, Wi-Fi 7, BLUETOOTH6, and a radio architecture that doesn't just connect to the internet, it monitors, logs, and pipes device telemetry in ways that make previous MacBooks look transparent by comparison. That's not speculation. That's what security researchers writing in February 2026 confirmed when they tore apart macOS Analytics. Even if you declined to share Mac Analytics at setup, your machine is still sending data to Apple. The M5 MacBook Pro, with its 18-core CPU, 40-core GPU, and 38 TOPS neural engine, is the most powerful laptop Apple has ever shipped. It is also the most connected surveillance apparatus Apple has ever put in a consumer's hands. And nobody is talking about it. But here's the catch. This isn't a conspiracy. It's a business war. And Apple is losing a battle it refuses to admit is happening. In December 2025, a prototype device left Apple's campus. Someone sold it inside. Buried in an early iOS 26 build were the codenames for 15 unreleased Mac models, product identifiers, internal chip names, a full roadmap through the end of 2026 and beyond. Macrumors confirmed it. AppLineSider confirmed it. The breach exposed not just hardware timelines but the existence of two mystery devices, codenames J3 for 9 and J2 to 6, that cannot be linked to any known product. Apple has never publicly explained what they are. 6 codenames, no known devices. That's the macOS secret, and the industry is beginning to understand what it means. Here's what we know. The MacBook Ultra, internally referred to in analyst circles under the umbrella of Apple's Ultra push, is real. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman confirmed it in his March 8th Power On newsletter. This device will carry the Mac's first ever touchscreen and OLED display, a starting price that insiders say will exceed $500, a 20% premium consistent with Apple's playbook when it introduced OLED to the iPhone X in 2017 and the iPad Pro in 2024. It will not replace the MacBook Pro, it will sit above it. That's new. Apple has never done that with a laptop, and it's coming in Q4 2026. The secret offer nobody is discussing. The MacBook Neo, the $599 budget laptop Apple accidentally revealed on its own website on March 3rd. Yanking the regulatory link before most people could screenshot it, runs on an A19 Pro chip pulled directly from Apple's iPhone line. Not the M series, an iPhone chip in a laptop. That is a fundamental architectural shift in how Apple thinks about computing tiers. At the top, the MacBook Ultra with OLED and Touch, priced above $2,500. At the bottom, the MacBook Neo with an iPhone chip, priced at $599. In between, the M5 Air at $999. The M5 Pro MacBook Pro at $1,999, the M5 Max at $3,999. Apple has constructed a 5-tier laptop hierarchy in 90 days. No competitor has a response ready. The internal friction. Not everyone inside Apple's ecosystem is celebrating. The M5 Fusion architecture, the breakthrough chip design that places the CPU and GPU on separate physical dies for the first time in Apple Silicon history, is stunning on paper. Up to 4x faster AI performance than M4. Up to 2x faster SSD speeds. A 24-hour battery life on the 14-inch Pro. But the geopolitical domino is already in motion. New US tariffs on overseas semiconductor components, the ones that feed TSMC's 3nm fabs in Taiwan, are pressuring Apple's supply chain. The Mac Studio, expected at WWDC in June 2026 with M5 Max and M5 Ultra chips starting at $1,999, could cost significantly more by the time it ships. Every $100 increase is a $100 closer to the moment consumers pause. If the Mac Studio creeps past $2,400 at entry level, corporate IT procurement freezes. Mac enterprise adoption, which has grown for 11 consecutive quarters, stalls. The Apple business flywheel slows, and Qualcomm and Intel, both racing to match Apple's ARM efficiency numbers, suddenly have a window they haven't had since 2020. The chain reaction. If Apple's tariff exposure forces a 15% price increase across the M5 Mac lineup in the back half of 2026, Windows on ARM device makers undercut Apple on price for the first time since Apple Silicon launched. Enterprise customers switch procurement cycles. Apple services revenue, which depends on Mac install base, dips. The stock, already navigating a complicated 2026 with foldable iPhone development costs and Vision ARR and deburn, takes pressure from a direction no analyst modeled 6 months ago. That isn't catastrophizing. That's the supply chain math that Apple's own internal teams are running right now on those same M5 Pro MacBooks. And the third person in that Cupertino verification room at 6:47 a.m.? A TSMC process integration engineer. Someone whose job exists because Apple's entire silicon future, the M6, the M6 Pro, the MacBook Ultra, all of it depends on a manufacturing partnership with a company. Why located 90 miles from the Taiwan Strait? That dependency doesn't appear on Apple's spec sheet. It doesn't appear in the press release. But it is the most important number in Apple's entire product roadmap for the next 24 months. Here's where we land. In the next 72 hours, Apple's March Mac wave either cements the most dominant laptop lineup in the company's 50-year history, or the first cracks appear. Either the MacBook Ultra becomes the defining product of the decade, the moment Apple proved a laptop could replace a workstation, a monitor, and a touch interface simultaneously, or the tariff clock runs out, the supply chain buckles, and the M6 roadmap slips into 2027, handing every competitor a runway they haven't had in years. Two outcomes, no middle ground. The Mac West secret is already out. The question is whether Apple controls what happens next.